Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Faces Friday. I'm Jacob Hackett. Joining me today is she founded her own company over the summer with adult independent services. She helps people that are aging out of school transition into the future. Joining me today to talk about what she does and how she could possibly help you is Debra Freed. Debra, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Jacob. Thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
So, Debra, you told me before we got started today that you're kind of new to this game. Tell people like your life story and how you got started and all that good stuff.
Yes. So I'm new to helping and assisting in consulting with families and organizations, but I have been in the game for almost 25 years. I have mother of three. I have an older daughter that's 25, a daughter that's 22, and a son that's 17. But our oldest daughter was born with a lot of intellectual and developmental as well as medical disabilities. So it's been really challenging, not only raising a child with disabilities, but balancing a family life. And as the years have gone on, she's had multiple surgeries and multiple and challenging issues come up throughout the years, and I always had an IEP programs. And, really it's just challenging thinking about life after school and what's going to happen to my kid when she ages out or graduates school. And how do I handle my other children? So recently, this past summer, I did found this company, Adult Independent Services, realizing that families do need extra assistance in preparing for that transition for life after high school. And that's really what I started doing. And I've been working with the high schools as well as the hospitals, as well as just clients from all over the place, and really helping them prepare from something as, turning 18 and realizing that you need a state ID or a voter registration card just to prove that you're a New Jersey resident before you even can start thinking about applying for, adult services. So it's really the steps that need to be taken in order to really make sure that you have all of your T's crossed and I's dotted before you even can go on to the next step and start gathering all your information together before you age out of the school, but then be applying for these adult state services. So you have some things intact before you actually leave the school.
Which is great because I found, because I do more of the same as you, that parents just don't know where to go.
Right. They don't.
You could have 4 open doors, but you don't know which one's the right one to go through.
Right. And you're juggling the doors and you realize it could take all 4 of them before you find the right one.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Oh, yeah, it's very scary. So, Debra, what is your hope for your company and for your clients? And tell the viewers, do you have a specific age range for your clients?
Generally, I work with clients who are in high school, closer to the 16, 17-year-old and older, up into the 21 years of age. Because it's really challenging. I tell all my younger parents when I meet them, when they have younger children, that it's just the most important thing, the advice I can give right off the bat is to start accumulating, start gathering all of your information from doctors' patient summaries to IEP programs to any specific note that you've ever gotten from any organization or any doctor's office, because that's going to be really important as your child gets older to really start organizing and put them in chronological order, because these are the things that you're going to need as you start preparing to apply for adult state-funded services. And no matter what organization, whether it's Social Security, Division of Vocational Rehab Services, Department of Developmental Disabilities, whether it's Jewish Family Services, whether it's Interactive Kids, wherever that you're going, that you're going to need some kind of a service. And thank goodness there are so many agencies, but it's really important to keep that information. And we are working really with the older kids and helping them really prepared because, as you know, 18 is a magic number in this country. We are legally an adult. So a lot of things start to change at that point too, where, sometimes parents might have to get guardianship or a power of attorney, or put even a, important decision maker in charge to help their loved one make some decisions, because when you're legally an adult, it's really challenging for that child who is disabled to make some of these decisions. So there's so many steps. My goal is to really work with the schools. I would like to see every school who has a special needs student, who has an IEP program in place, specifically when you get to high school, I feel that these types of services, Jake, and I'm sure you might agree with me, should be part of the plan, should be part of the program. So as you're educating the parents and teachers about, in the schools, about if they need, speech therapy twice a week, or physical therapy, or occupational therapy, or they're pulled out for English once a week, or math once a week, this should be a program instilled to teach the parents to start preparing for the next few years. So when that child is ready to age out or graduate, they can glide right into whatever service they're going to need without any hiccups.
Yeah, because, and I'm sure you can go off of what I'm going to say, Debra, but during COVID, I can just imagine the amount of struggle that some parents have gone through, because, the world was at a standstill. Nothing was happening, and then you go, oh my God, the world shut down. What do I do?
Right. And that's where it's really scary, because then you're at home and you're panicking because you don't know what to do. And there are no other options, there are no other avenues. The world, like you said, was shut down. But the wonderful thing about our state is it's got a lot of money. It's got millions of dollars to help, individuals who have disabilities. And it's just, I've been putting together a program called Cutting Through the Red Tape, because once you cut through the red tape, what you can access and the services that are available to anybody with a disability can be amazing. And these loved ones and everybody can live as independently as possible and really live their best life and be part of the society, be part of a community, feel important, because that's what it is. You want to have a sense of self-worth. You don't, I've seen my own daughter even, got very depressed out in her room, and she's watching her brother and her sister's lives were continuing to go on. But, she couldn't do some of the things they could do. And it gets very heartbreaking when you're watching one child get such into a depression because they can't do the things that their siblings are doing, but you can't hold back their siblings because their life goes on. And it's a hard balancing act.
Yeah, it's like 50-50. Where do I go now?
Right. Exactly. And there's some wonderful agencies and organizations. So within, I have a really nice network I work with, networks with DDD and DVR and JFS, and, even Social Security. And I have, a couple attorneys that I work with that can help parents or loved ones get disability guardianship or power of attorney. So it's a really nice network, and it's wonderful because, in a day, certain things can get done. Whereas, if you're trying to do everything by yourself, it's really challenging to get somebody on the phone sometimes. The waits can be so long, and you really think you have all the time in the world when you get to be a freshman at 14 years old, and then you're 21 and the clock starts to tick and nothing is done. You mentioned yourself, you don't know where to go, and you get lost, and there's 4 doors to walk through. You don't know which one you pick, just like you said. And it's really overwhelming. And for me, where I found a lot of success with the families that I've been working with is I am a family. I do have a loved one who is severely disabled, is medically disabled as well, and I can share, some of the experiences that we have. So parents can relate to me also because I am a parent, and that really, really, I find that families almost have a sense of relief, knowing, oh my God, she's been there. She's done that. She's gone from sitting in a room with an IEP program to graduating and aging out and realizing that their services and how to get them and what to use and how to apply and they work, and they do work. And there are some of these services, a lot of things are just amazing once you have access to them.
Yeah. but the key, Deborah, is you have to have access to it. If you don't have access to it, forget it. It's not going to work.
That's correct. Yes. And that's why I'm here working with as many families as I can, with the high schools, with hospitals, whatever I can work with, to make sure that these clients and loved ones have access, so that we can get things done and make sure these applications are filled out correctly. Because sometimes if a parent or a client or someone's missing something and these applications sit on a shelf for a year, then they get, kicked back and they get thrown out and you got to start all over again. And some of these applications, between Social Security is many pages long. A DDD application is about 26 pages long that you have to read through and fill out, and it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. And I really wish that, it didn't take 26 pages to get to the finish line of the marathon, really.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You're right. And it's definitely can be extremely overwhelming, especially when you're trying to, let's say you have 5 kids or 6 kids or 3 kids or 4 kids, and you're working full time and trying to manage everything. And it's definitely, it can be extremely challenging, and it can be scary and depressing and overwhelming and frustrating. And that's why that's my job. My job is really to try and help the employees of these high schools jobs be a little bit easier by becoming the trampoline. So when these parents feel like they're falling off a cliff, and I'm there to catch them, I'm here to bounce them back up. And that's really why I would like to work with the high schools in particular, so I can be that person, so I can make their lives earlier, so I can be that trampoline.
And you're also there to say you're not alone either.
Right. Absolutely. And it's interesting because you think about that, right? And you think, you're not alone, but in your heart, you feel like you are.
Right. You inside, you're not alone because there's people walking through the same pairs of shoes that you are, but in your heart, you're,
Absolutely. Right. Yes. And that's why, and exactly. So I've done a couple of these. I definitely would let you know the next time I put one together. I've done something at the Gallery Public Library where I had invited families to come, and we did like a small talk, really for the most part. So it's a free program so that families can meet other families, to have some camaraderie. And then last month I did something at Bright Stars in EHT on Fire Road. They donated the gym. We did an open gym. So we had about 10, 12 families show up. And it was really nice because some of the families had never been to the gym. Some of the families had never met each other. It's just something else for them to do with their kids. And it's really challenging because in the middle of winter, there isn't much to do. All the beaches are shut down. The boardwalks are closed, so it's nice when you have something to do in the middle of winter and where you can meet other families. So, you're not alone.
Yeah. And I mean, thank God this winter's been as mild as it has. I mean,
I know.
have we gotten a curse or what?
It's going to be 71 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, I heard that spring fever on the 23rd of February. Who would have thought?
In spring fever, and then it's supposed to snow, I think, on Saturday.
Yeah.
I can't mind.
Yeah, really. It can't make up its mind at all. If you could give any parents any advice to help to try and make the transition piece just a little easier, what would you say?
The number one thing I would tell them, that any family or client that I come across as at this point, no matter what your age is start accumulating paperwork, because of these agencies. The more you inundate them with paperwork, and the more chances you are, hopefully, of getting these services faster, because it's a story of your life and the challenges you face and the disabilities that your loved one has. And it's all documentation as to where you were to where you are now and where you're going. So whether it's, like I mentioned, doctor's office, patient summary visits, start reaching out to your doctor's office, as a lot of them are virtual today. So you're able to print out and go into the records of no matter where your office is. Gather every IEP program that your child's ever had, and making sure they're on chronological order, because these are the things that's really challenging to go back 10 years if you're missing something and try and get it. So if you have the opportunity to save it now, start saving everything now and get them on order, because that's the first step that you can do. And also, depending on how atypical or typical your loved one is, thinking about the plan for high school, and really, and if you're entering high school, to start researching in your child study team department and making sure you have a lot of meetings during the summertime and introduce your loved one to the schools. So on the day that comes, that's what I did with my daughters. The day that it came when school started, all we did is drop her off. She was comfortable. She had an aide. She had the department knew her. She knew her schedule. She knew where she was walking to, and she was prepared. That also helps a little bit. So you're not it's going to be nerve-wracking anyway, but at least you know that you've done your homework over the summertime and you've really gotten your loved ones prepared for school. And the other thing is, just as you're approaching the age of 18, or 17 actually, when you're able to get a state ID, or at 18 a voter registration card, start accumulating, start gathering these items as fast as you can when the age appropriate is, just to start, because these are going to make things a little bit easier as you travel down that path preparing.
Yeah, and Debra, one last question. If a parent needs to would like to contact you, how would they do so?
They can just contact me at debra.freed@independentservices.com or adultindependentservices.com.
There you have it, friends. If you need Debra, she's there for you. I have her contact information. So if you need it, just reach out to me directly via the Faces for Autism Facebook page, and I will pass it on to you, Debra Freed. Ladies and gentlemen, Debra, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me, Jacob. I really appreciate it.